What is the NLP pattern interrupt? Stay tuned. It's Damon from NLP Gym. This is not another handshake pattern interrupt video. If you haven't already, please click subscribe to this YouTube channel so you can get these videos on a regular basis. Pattern interrupt was first made famous by Milton Erickson. When people would go to shake his hand, he would interrupt the person by picking up their hand and turning it back to their face, and then putting them through an induction, and then finishing by basically finishing the greeting, shaking the person's hand and saying, "My name is Milton Erickson." The point of that was basically he would interrupt the pattern that they were going through, that they were sort of on autopilot doing. When you go to shake someone's hand, you're kind of on autopilot. You're just going and moving your hand close to the other person. You're expecting to greet them, but he would interrupt that. And when you interrupt an automated pattern like that we normally engage in on autopilot, it makes you very susceptible to going into a trance. So that's exactly what he would use it for. It was a quick way that he could put somebody into a trance by interrupting the normal pattern that they would go through. So we're gonna experiment a little bit with that today. Another way to think of a pattern interrupt, the story I had read by Alan Watts, the philosopher, and he said that whenever a person joins a samurai group to learn how to be a samurai, they come in usually as boys, and they would come in and they have to basically clean the dojo. They have to clean everything. And as they would be cleaning, as they're earning their keep, one of the masters would walk in and take a kendo fencing sword, so it's made out of bamboo, and crack them over the head with it. And this would go on for days. When the samurai in training least expected it, the master samurai would come in and crack him over the head. And then he became paranoid and freaked out about it, always looking over his shoulder and waiting for that to happen. And then the samurai master would find ways to still surprise him and crack him over the head with the kendo fencing sword, to the point where eventually the student just gave in. He gave up his paranoia, he gave up looking, and just gave into the process. And then he became ready to learn his first lessons. So that's, in a sense, a type of pattern interrupt. So I have an assistant. This is Ryan, and Ryan's going to help me with demonstrating two pattern interrupts that I like to play around with. Ryan has no NLP background and no hypnosis background, so she has no idea what I'm about to do, right?
No.
Okay. So you're 30?
Yes.
When I was your age, I was 31. So that can be considered a pattern interrupt because it defies what a person would normally say in a situation like that, or the pattern of thinking or the pattern of interaction that follows after that. Somebody says, how old are you? They tell you their age, and maybe they'll make a comment about it, but what I said just now, it made absolutely no sense. So it kind of throws a person into a spin for a second to figure out, okay, does that make sense, or how does it? Okay, no, it doesn't make sense, and then carry on with the conversation. Now the other one we're going to do is one that Milton Erickson used to do, but you don't see a whole lot of. I actually got this off of Steve Andreas's blog. So I'm going to go ahead and have you close your eyes and just relax and maybe feel the floor or the concrete underneath your feet and just kind of feel grounded and nice and relaxed. And just take a deep breath. And can you shake your head no? No, you can't? But that's not no. So if she shakes her head no, then I can say, no, you can't do it, you don't know how to do it. And so it's interrupting her normal pattern because she did the activity. Now some people will say yes, and then if they do that, I'll say, well, you didn't do it. So once again, interrupting her. You're not letting her have it either way. And what Milton Erickson would do, he would have this back and forth until the person sort of gave into it, gave into the ambiguity, and gave into the confusion, and then he could put them into a smooth induction that would follow right after that. So what's the point of the pattern interrupt? The point of the pattern interrupt is, in NLP, the neuro-linguistic programming, the programming part is also known as patterns as well. So you have set behavioral patterns that you follow along with most of the time on autopilot. And whether it's in a sales situation or negotiating or in any situation where a person is just running their normal patterns, it might be useful to get them out of those patterns. For example, you go to a clothing store. As soon as you walk in, the clerk walks up to you and says, "Can I help you with something?" And we say no and keep walking. And then a few seconds later, we turn around and realize, wait a minute, I did need help. Why did I just say no? I said no because I'm running a pattern that I'm used to, that somebody's trying to sell me something and I don't want them to sell me something. So I just say no and keep walking. Well, sometimes we need to interrupt those patterns if you're in a sales situation, and there could be many other situations where you just need to teach someone something. So in order to teach someone something, or to have them follow along with you, or to close a sale, you might have to interrupt that pattern of thinking. So you interrupt the pattern using, you can use a number of different things. It could be a question, it could be an action. There's a famous story about Tony Robbins throwing water in a woman's face when she was talking about how bad her life was, and every time she would start to do that, he would throw the water in her face and interrupt that pattern to the point where she couldn't go back to that pattern anymore. So pattern interrupt can be extremely powerful when you need to get someone out of their normal routine way of thinking or their normal behavior pattern. You can interrupt that, and then once they are out of their normal pattern, they're usually in a state of a bit of confusion, and at that point, it's a good time to lead them where you want them to go, or lead them to what would be more helpful or beneficial for them. Check out our website, nlp-gym.com. There you can find out how to sign up for NLP Gym's Ultimate NLP Practitioner Training, which is coming up in January 2017. Follow us on Facebook for real-time updates on workshops and free practice sessions that I hold in Santa Cruz. If you like this video, please click like right down here and leave me a comment or even a question. I will follow up with you. Stay tuned to the end of this video so you can see how you can get your hands on a free NLP online training. Take care.